Welcome to Old Mutuals on the Money Show. Today we have a special guest, and I say special guest because she's someone I've known for quite a number of years, and she's been doing some amazing work. So let me introduce you to Wendy Selebi. And she's been in the retail banking industry for many years, and the latter years of her career, she was an executive there. Wendy. Lekai. So, 37 years, retail banking. How did it all start? Was it your first job? 37 years is a long time.
It's a long time, yeah. So thank you for having me. I started Kadi 1st May 1985, Kopem Building Society.
1985.
That was the first time I started working.
Oh.
And, I think the culture, the building society was so great that before I knew it, 10 years.
Yeah.
And then when they transitioned, the building societies, then we moved to Nedbank. And then I stayed there for a while, and then Babula People's Bank.
Yes.
Then I went to People's Bank, and then Rahutlela Nedbank. So in the 37 years, I've really done a lot of different roles and so on. So it wasn't monotonous. It was quite exciting.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about your latter years working for a bank as an executive. What were your responsibilities at the time?
Yeah, so I was the executive for financial wellness, which means that I was responsible for the consumer financial education and the financial fitness programs. So the strategy, the implementation, everything. Yeah, so I had a team that was working with me, and I must say it's something that I've always loved. That for me has always been a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you recently retired. Are you still serving in any boards and maybe doing extra work here and there post-retirement?
I love it when you say recently. Say 3 years, that I've retired. Time moves so fast. No, I'm still serving on the Nedbank Foundation as a trustee. And then they also have another trust that focuses on education. It's called the Nedbank Aid to Community Trust Fund. So I'm also on that one. So I'm still active.
All right. So look, I know there was a relationship between Old Mutual and Nedbank, but that's history now. But be that as it may, there's something quite interesting. You recently also wrote a book called I Wish Someone Had Told Me.
Yeah.
And today I want to spend a lot of time understanding what's in that book.
Right.
What is the book all about? If somebody says, I wish somebody had told me, it could be about any topic.
Yeah.
So what is the theme of the book?
So the theme of the book is really based on the money mistakes that I've made. And I wrote the book so that the reader can learn from my mistakes and then do things differently.
Yeah.
So as an example, John, when I started work, Kadi 1, I was May 1985. There was no Google then. There was no social media, right?
There was only Google, not Google.
Yeah. Google. Yeah. And I didn't know a lot. I didn't have a lot of financial literacy or any skills, And on that day, I was required to make financial decisions that would have an impact on my life right up until now. So, for example, on your first day, they ask you to choose a pension fund or a provident fund. When you are young and you don't even know what that is. So I just made a choice. I thought, I heard my parents talk about pension. Then I said pension fund. Then I said, at what age do you want to retire? 60 or 63? And I don't even know what the difference is. But but they really don't want to be going to work. So I thought they were 63. So when they said 60 or 63, I was like 60.
Yeah.
And then they ask you, what percentage do you want to contribute towards your pension fund? And once you've seen the salary in the contract, you start accounting in your head or what you're going to do with the money. So by the time they get to that question, do you want to contribute minimum or maximum? I just went minimum. So I made financial decisions on that day without the skills and the knowledge, and not even understanding that they would have consequences at a later stage.
Yeah.
So this book is really about that. I share, I'm really open about the mistakes that I've made, and I want to believe that as a reader is going through it, they can also identify themselves in my story.
So in your book, there's a section I read there where you mentioned that one of your aunts asked you about retirement, and you had turned 50 at the time.
Yes, yeah.
And then suddenly you realize, oh, I never thought of retirement. So if I may ask, what is in your experience now? What were your expectations about retirement versus reality when you actually eventually retired?
Yeah, I think all of us know that at some point we are going to retire. But I think what makes us delay even thinking handle about it is that we think we have the gift of time.
Yeah.
Because, when you are 23 and they ask you about retirement, you're thinking, no, I'll start thinking about it when I'm 40, And so when my aunt asked me that question, I always got my statements. They were showing me how much I have in my pension fund, and it looked amazing, the money there. I'm thinking, hey, when I go on retirement, I'm going to be rich, etc. But when my aunt asked me that question that day, I went back home and I really started thinking long and hard. Actually, let me actually start now doing these investigations. In the next 10 years when I retire, what will life look like? Because, she said, I hope the money that you have will last you for long, because in our family, we live beyond the 90s. So you don't want your money to run out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a scary thought, because some people think when they retire, they'll live for 2, 3, 4 years and then die. But who told us that people, that we're going to die immediately after retirement? And what if you live until 90 or 100?
Exactly.
The risk of outliving your money, then what next? So I guess that's a challenge for many people facing retirement.
Yeah. And you know what? We don't think about what's going to happen when I go on retirement. For a lot of people, they think when you retire, it's end of life. And I can understand, because, when you go on retirement, if we were to use Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you're almost at self-actualization. All the dreams that you've had as a young girl or a young man, that you worked towards, I want to be successful, I want to reach these heights, I want to take my kids to a good school, etc. When you reach 60, you've achieved all of that. And then what? And then what happens is that you stop work abruptly. So today I'm at work, tomorrow I'm no longer working, I'm on retirement. What happens? You've spent 37 years like I did. Every day you are running, you are going to work, you're going to meetings, you are flying here, you are flying there. And then all of a sudden it comes to an abrupt stop.
Yeah.
And then?
Yeah. And to add to that list, and the next thing when you retire, the salary stops.
Yes.
And now you have to rely on whatever your savings, your retirement savings you've made over the years. And if your retirement annuity, which is the money that you get paid from your pension fund, does not match at least 70% of your last paycheck, then all of a sudden the standard of living has changed.
Yeah, has to drop. I want to say that, when I went on retirement, I really thought I was ready and good, and I was excited.
And this is after 37 years.
This is after 37 years. And actually, one of the things why I wrote this book is also to voice over, to say, just because a person works for a financial institution, or they're an executive, or they're a CEO, it does not come naturally that they know how to manage their finances. So when you are now going off on retirement, I mean, you sit with your financial planner, and then they work their magic and they show you the realities to say, look, if you're going to try and maintain your lifestyle the way you've been doing, this money will last you up to age 70. And your eyes pop out, right? And so you have to sit there and make financial decisions that are actually going to help you navigate beyond retirement. Because, you can live up to 90. And so when you're making those decisions at that time, you have to take your context into play to say, if in my family people live beyond 90, it means chances of me also going beyond 90 are very strong. So I have to be very prudent in how I now allocate this money. As you've said, the income stops. Okay, the expenses go up, and then you're withdrawing, there's nothing coming in. Yes. So those are the realities that one needs to think about.
I think the number that's going around is 6%, that only 6% of South Africans can retire comfortably, which means 94% will retire ill-prepared for retirement. When you look at your 37 years of work, I would imagine the bulk of it contributing towards a pension fund. Were you satisfied when you retired that, well, you saved enough after 37 years, or did you still have concerns?
Look, I still had concerns because I think you never have enough money, right? And so after that 50th conversation, then I sat with my financial planner. And then he said, look, you're good, but I'm sure we can do something to accelerate even better. So I liked that part because then I had 10 years to can still, accelerate and do other things that will keep me going. So had I known from day one, had someone told me, that's why I say, I wish someone had told me at day one to say, as you embark on this new journey of work, know that you are one step closer to your retirement. Don't look at your life stage and think, I'm still young, I'll start saving for retirement in my 30s or my 40s. It's very late, too late. Yeah.
So when you eventually reached your retirement age, I mean, did you have any conversation with your financial advisor about a lifestyle strategy post-retirement?
No, because already now I'm in the finance space. I had already thought about it. It's amazing how that conversation at my 50th birthday actually started to change the trajectory of how I thought and the things that I started doing. So then I started also looking, when I reached age 53, 54, I could see already, but I'm still young. What am I going to do after 60, And I'm those active people. Then I realized, if I stop work abruptly and nothing happens, I'm definitely going to die. And that's what happens to a lot of us, because when you stop work, it's the death of a vision that you've always had as a young girl. It culminates and it stops on that day. So you have to give birth to something new in order for you to have a new vision, a new purpose, new goals. So in that time, I thought, okay, what am I going to do when I go in retirement? There's no ways I'm going to be sitting at home. So then I thought, okay, what are some of the things that I love doing? One of them is what we are doing now, talking, right? And I thought, okay, I'm gifted in this area. Let me go and do a speaking course. So I went and I did that. Then I thought, what else do I want to do? Oh, I want to lecture. Okay, let me register. Then I started registering. I'm completing my master's in theology. And then I thought, okay, if I'm 55, by 58, I will have done my undergrad. 59, I will have done my honors. 60, you know what I mean? So I started putting things in place. And to be quite honest, I wasn't intentional, or I'm doing that. But as I was doing things, I realized, or no, I have to put things in place for after that. This book, I had already started writing it. And then I realized, and then what's going to happen? So I stopped. I had written about 4 chapters. Then I put it on ice. I said it will wait until I go on retirement. So as I was going on retirement, I already had a new vision. I had new goals. I had a new purpose. So it was easier to transition. So I think that a challenge with a lot of people is that they go on retirement and they feel, I've been working for 37 years. I want to enjoy life. I want to travel, or I want to take a break. And then what? Remember, you've always been active. You've always been someone who sits in meetings, in boards. You know, you are giving. And then all of a sudden it stops.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your phone call doesn't ring as much as it used to, I guess.
You know, John, I want to tell you a story. On the last day of, my birthday is in January, so you retire on your birth month. So on the 31st of Jan, excited, I drove to the office to go and get whatever little things, because we had been COVID for 2 years, we had not gone into the office. So I drove and music playing, and I'm thinking, all excited. And it all changed for me when I reached the entrance of the parking or basement. When I took out my access card to tap to go in, wow. All of a sudden, there were these voices. I don't know where they came from. One was saying, today, as you tap that card, just know it's the last time you come in here as an employee. The next time you come in, somebody must fetch you and escort you. One was saying, that's the end of you being, the little things like those. And the other voice was saying, all your power now has ceased. No more team, no more power, you're useless. So what's going to happen next? And I burst out crying. And the security guards were thinking, hey, Meo is always jolly. Why is he crying? And so I went upstairs. I was packing my things. I was just weeping. And I must be honest, that experience also made me to be more kinder to people. Sometimes when they say people have committed suicide, and we always say, why Asabua? We could have helped them and whatever. The way those voices came at once, they overwhelmed me to a point of crying. So I understood what people go through sometimes.
I think let's talk a little bit more about that, because I would imagine this is a stage that most people who retire go through. The emotions of the fact that everything is going to stop abruptly. I used to be an executive, and I had power. I could make decisions, and people would, I would issue out instructions, and people will run around, and I would get calls, and people would ask for my input to make a decision and things like that. And then all of a sudden, when that stops, and that even your call will not be ringing as much as it used to.
It doesn't ring.
It doesn't ring at all. So what kind of support, psychologically speaking, do people who retire actually need to be able to navigate through that stage?
I think one of the biggest things that I believe people who go on retirement need to embrace is change. Or you have to work with yourself and really drum it in you, or I am transitioning and I have to embrace the change. And that's why it's important that even as you embrace the change, you embrace the fact that your role will not be the same. And you have to socialize yourself. Unfortunately, we don't have that time. So for me, what helped me is that they had given me an extension, a 3-month contract, because they were still finalizing my successors, who would come after me. And I appreciated that time because I used that time to start speaking to myself, to say, Bona, in 3 months' time, you'll be at home. Remember, I thought I was ready. And then I even started working fewer days so that psychologically, mentally, and otherwise, I'm ready for this transition. I want to say that it's important that you think about that. Your relationship, remember, we spend 90% of our time at work. And so our friends, everybody is there. Okay, all of a sudden, you're no longer going to meet those people. And probably if you were a high flyer, you didn't even have time maybe for your spouse or for your children. And then here you are, they're looking at you, you are a stranger, they don't even know you. And so it's so important that, we really, even as we are chasing our success and everything, we need to balance. They always talk about that work-life balance, that it's not that's not easy to achieve. It's very, very important because you lose your identity, by the way. I can identity on executive financial wellness, our executive CEO, how CEO, minister, whoever. And then the following day, it's quiet, voice Wendy. And you're thinking, where am I here? Yeah.
Sure.
That's what happens.
There's something you said in your book about your financial choices have consequences. What did you mean by that?
I was referring to those decisions that are made on day one without the skills and the knowledge. What I'm saying is that it's very important that you acquire or you have financial literacy, because when you are literate, you are able to make the right financial decisions. You have the skills and you have the knowledge. You are able to understand, or if I make this decision, these are the consequences. And when you are financially literate, then and you make those decisions, then you gain financial confidence. You are confident, or the decisions that I've made will carry me through. And when times of challenges come, life is not a straight line. We had COVID, our finances were challenged. When you've made those right decisions, then you have financial resilience, because you know that my finances are structured in such a way that, no matter what the turbulence that's happening in the financial markets or in the world, my investments are still intact. And when you have that, we say you have financial wellness.
I guess it's true what they say, that you can predict somebody's future by the kind of choices that they make today.
Yeah. Look, I say to people, every day is decision-making day, especially when it comes to your finances. How you spend them, where you spend them, who you spend them with. Those spending sprees or whatever decisions you make, they add up and they have consequences. And so it's so important that every day you must be mindful about what you are doing with your money, where you are spending it on. And so you have to be conscious of that factor. These are incremental. And when you look back, you think, oh my goodness, I used to have clothing accounts. If you ask me now, where are those clothes? I gave them away. They didn't out of fashion. And then you find yourself, you are now indebted about things that no sadi need. So I think it's so important that you must be mindful of your financial choices every day. People say, keep payday. Kilo itabisa. And there's nothing wrong if you have already done your budget, your spending plan. But if you haven't, you can easily spend 3,000 rand. And then when you come, by the time you sit and try and do your budget, you are 2,000 or 3,000 rand out of pocket.
I guess some financial decisions can be hidden by their nature. For example, the choice you make about who you marry, for example.
Who you
marry. Because it would have financial implications. how you marry them,
Yeah.
what type of marriage you go for, and things like that. Investment, or let me not even talk investment, but that's obvious. It's a financial decision. But I mean, decisions like that about who you associate with, who you marry, who you hang around with, how you want people to see you publicly, because sometimes we want to project a particular image. What would you say to that?
So I tell young people, when you are still courting with a person or when your intentions get serious, get to know this person. Who are they when they see money? And that
who are they when they see money?
Yeah, or when they have money.
When they have money.
Money has this ability to amplify what has always been there.
That's right.
But it was lying low.
Dormant.
Because it really dormant because there was no money.
Yeah.
Then you see this and you think, changes,
It's true.
the financial muscle. So instead of redule restaurant, gazing in each other's eyes and smiling, regisana the strawberries, let's find out what's your money personality.
Yes.
Let's take that quiz. Let me know who I am, who you are. Then let's talk about your context, your family. Where do you come from? Have those conversations that are helping you, that will guide you. Who amongst the two of us is good with money?
Yes.
This thing, the man is the head of the home. He must handle the finances, even if, he's...
He's
taking. It doesn't work. So when you have those conversations, they guide you. Okay, this is his, for example, I am what they call a carer. Carers, they love helping everybody to the detriment of their families. And so people know, if Kiako Wendy, Lankatlaka sob story effing, utlonsa her last savings to help me. So you look at your partner. What is your partner's money personality? So for example, if your partner is a carer, your partner is a penny pincher, they hoard money. Already, there's going to be issues there.
That's true.
Okay, those people that they call penny pinchers, they're very good with money.
Yeah.
It's just that they don't know how to enjoy and spend it because they have the fear or they might lose the money. But when, as a couple, you now know, okay, ona uso, then this one who knows how to handle money, let them be the one that handles money. There'll be less fighting, less challenges in your marriage. And then it also guides you. So, Racheka, John, what debts do you have?
Yeah.
People don't want to talk about those things, but you have to. What debts do you have? Bring your debts. Let me bring my debts. Probably when you've got debts in a million, no, I don't even have debts. And then we choose to get married in community of property, which then means your debts become my debts. You know what I mean? Rather, maybe as a couple, because you've got great intentions, even when you choose that marriage arrangement, then you are in it with your eyes open and you are saying, okay, I love you enough to can help you reduce all your debts.
Wow, that's quite a mouthful. Sis Wendy, is money a game changer?
It depends from which perspective you look at it, but money can be a game changer.
Yeah.
Like I've said, can I use another example?
Yeah.
Like a game changer.
Yes.
So, when you are working, right, you earn that stipend, that salary, etc. A lot of people, when they go on retirement, they offer you, they say you can take a third of what you have, or you can take the tax-free portion, right? And the tax-free portion, man,
Yeah.
And then you're looking at these millions, but a third. And then people opt for a third, right? Then they tax it, and then boom, you've got 2 million in your account. You've never had 200,000.
Yeah.
You've never known how to manage it. And now you've got 2 million, it's sitting there. Don't you go crazy? the game changes. And then what do? A lot of people, what they do, then, is smart. They break it to the ground. They build a double story. They've forgotten that they're over 60. They might not be able to go up those stairs and so on. And so they really don't know how to manage the finances. That changes. I mean, you've heard of stories where as soon as one partner gets their pension money, they disappear. They go and spend it wherever, and then they come back saying a pauper. So money is a game changer. It can really do good for you, and it can also do bad for you. And that's why it's so important that we all acquire, those skills to manage our finances.
Now, one of the things you talk about in your book, I wish someone had told me, is preparing for life stages. Can you just unpack that a bit?
Those life stages are so critical that we need to inculcate this culture of saving and investing at an early age with our children. As soon as your kids can understand, or when they are playing in the room, then you say to them, you know what, you introduce financial education. You say to them, if you do this, if you pack your toys after you are done, then you take those maybe 2 jars with their names. I'll give you each 10 rands. You plonk it in there. The following day, they do the same thing. You put it in there. What are you doing? You're already teaching these kids that you have to work to earn money, right? And then when they look at those jars, they see the money growing. So in their mind, they are shaped to understand, or the more money you put in, the more money it grows. And then you take them to the bank. You go and open bank accounts for them, when they can understand, and you give them the cards and you show them the cards, and then you start teaching them. When you introduce it at that stage, as they go into the next stage, maybe they start university and so on, they get their grants or NFSAs, and the parents give them money. They already know that you have to put something away. So as you navigate the life stages, you are incrementally now adding, because you've seen the value from the time you are a child. Every time Bob said, look at how your money has grown. Wow. Then the child is inquisitive and says, okay, what more do I need to do? And so by the time they start work, they already understand financial principles. You introduce them in such a simple way. And what is critical as well is that in every life stage, you've got to know that it's a preparation for the next life stage. So when you start work, it's preparation for the next stage. When you are in your 50s, between 50 and 60, it's preparation for the next stage. So it's very important.
Interesting. One of the narratives in a South African context is that we lack the culture of savings and investment, and yet we are a credit-hungry society. Is credit a friend or an enemy?
It depends on how your understanding of credit is. And I think in the book I talk about credit gluttony, or credit can become a foe or a friend if you don't know how to use it. Credit can be good if you are going to manage how you use credit. For example, a good use of credit is if you are buying an asset like a home that appreciates in value, that you might not be able to afford to pay 1.5 or 3 million cash. That's not bad. That's a good use of credit. Bad use of credit, especially if you don't know how credit works, is if maybe for a credit card, you apply at 4 financial institutions. When your credit score is good, then you get invited. Before the NCA, they would invite you to say, dear Wendy, your credit card is waiting for you, and you're thinking, yo, banzeba.
But they give you a compliment. Mario, you have buying power.
Yes, you have buying power.
Yeah.
And because you don't know how credit works, then they say your credit limit is 40,000. You think it's a target. So you go out there to use the 40,000. And in your head, when you calculate, you think, if it's 40,000, installment is 1,000. But in reality, you've forgotten that there's interest, there's charges that go in there. So the best and a good way of using a credit card, I always tell people, is that buy one item that you really need, pay it off, then buy the next item. You know, that's a good way of using credit. But credit immunity, because when you walk in, when your credit scores are good and everything, everybody is willing to give you that. And so that's how the gluttony comes into play. And before you know it, you are in debt.
Why do wealthy people love credit?
Well, it depends on what they're going to use it for. Other people know that you can still use credit to create more wealth, you know, and manage it in such a way that that credit you'll pay it back because you're creating more wealth. So I think you would need to really be wise around, if I'm taking this credit, what exactly am I going to do with it? Yes, and how will it give me more so that I can be able to pay? You know, for example, if maybe your house is paid off, and then there's a property that you see that can make money for you, that can generate additional income, you can raise a bond maybe on your paid up property. Buy that property because you know, especially if it will give you instant income, then you take the income from there. So that's how the wealthy use credit.
I think part of our challenge in the society is that the stigma of over-indebtedness makes people think that credit is a curse, when in fact, it depends on how you use credit, because you can use it to your advantage. There are wealthy people, for example, who would use credit to minimize their tax liability, because then the business cannot declare a profit because it's paying back the loan. But they know they're wealthy, and the money circulates between maybe a trust. And what would you say to that? I mean, just to introduce the concept so people understand that it depends on how you use credit and what you use it for.
Exactly. It really, and I'd like to say that before you venture into something like that, really consult, speak to the expert, make sure that when you are doing that, it will work for you. And you know what, John, what works for me might not work.
That's true.
You know, for you. So I think that when you are someone that wants to go into that space, I think, Rona, what we do is, I heard, or John, he's doing this, he's doing that. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the formula. I'm thinking, if John can do it, Wendy can do it, and I go into it. So I'd like to say that it's so critical that you always, you know, do your homework. Make sure all your crosses are done, you know, everything you've understood, even what you're getting into. Because a lot of people, I got into it, I didn't have full understanding. Then why did you go into it? No matter how lucrative something looks, still do your homework.
You see, now that we're talking about wealth creation, one of the topics in your book is microwave wealth creation. What did you mean by that?
What I talk about that is that easy come, easy go, is that sometimes as people, we put ourselves under undue pressure. What is my context? What are my accountabilities? What are the things that I am responsible for with my income? I take it to John is my peer. We started together. We are in the same role. We earn the same salary. If he can buy this kind of a car, why can't I do it? Or younger people, you know, they look at us. We've acquired things over 37 years. They look at you and they think, Lina, I want everything that she has at one go. So a lot of people lack the patience. But they start working today, and then tomorrow they must have everything. So I call it microwave success. And the danger is that you'll find yourself now getting involved in things that will literally get you into trouble. That's where you get into those rich quick schemes and whatever, because you want to have everything at once. That's why there's that adage that says Rome was not built in one day. It means that you must pace yourself one step at a time. People hangata, they look at you as a full package. They think, wow, Lina, I want that. But they don't know how long it took you to get where you are. So I write that chapter to just say, be patient. Don't want to have everything. You get a job today, already so reka koloi, you're buying a house, and then when you bought that house, you want to furnish it. So that's a quick way of also getting into debt.
Yeah. I love the fact that you mentioned the word patient. It reminds me of one speaker who said, if you are not patient, you will become a patient.
Exactly. I like that.
But you also talk about, people ending up in debt, and things like that. So you speak about avoiding the debt trap in the book. Can you elaborate on that?
That debt trap is exactly what I've just spoken about, to say, credit is presented to you without understanding it, then you are using it, and also you are falling into debt because you are competing with other people. I like using this example, and it's in the book as well, to say, when you look at race horses, right? I spoke to one of the guys that is a jockey, and I asked him, about race horses. And he said, race horses have got what they call peripheral vision. They can see from the sides, and so they get easily distracted. That's why Badikenya, those walk club, right? So Badikenya tsona, because they want them as they're training, as they're preparing for the race, to be focused, not to be looking on the sides. And even on race day, Abadi Kenya in those 10 styles, they also have, those things in there, all of a sudden. And when the bell or the gun goes, every horse pulls towards the finish mark. You'll never see them turning and looking at their neighbor, who are very which hooves and whatever. They are focused. And what I want to say is that if you want to avoid the debt trap, don't compete with other people. Run your own race. Focus on your goals. Your goals will be aligned to what you can afford. You know what I mean? So that is what gets us into the debt trap, because I'm thinking, no, Lina, I want what they have. So it's important that those blinkers, they call them blinkers.
So Wendy is now 60 years plus. If you had the opportunity to give advice to your younger self, the one who was signing those contracts back in the 1985s, thereabout, what would your advice be to your younger self?
I would have said to my younger self, Wendy, on day one, make sure that you understand what you are signing. Make sure you understand what the consequences are. Be aware that as of today, you are one step next to retirement. Therefore, be very intentional about how you use your money. And from day one, invest, save. That's what I would say.
All right, as we conclude, if you were to advise people out there who are watching this podcast, about planning for retirement, and in the context of the title of your book, I wish someone had told me. what would you say to them?
I would say be very intentional from day one. You know, don't think that I'll think about things when I'm 30 or 40. When you're 30 and 40, you know, you're now probably married, you've got children, there's a lot happening. While you are still young, really, and even if you are older, be intentional about your future. Because the truth of the matter is, even if only young, there will come a time when you are no longer young. So you have to prepare for that. I think don't delay.
Yes.
Do not think you have the gift of time.
Yes.
You do not. And the earlier you start investing for your future, not even for retirement, for your future, the better, because you will really benefit from the power of compounding interest.
Yeah.
You know, there's an interesting study that they did where they said, if I'm 25 and I start investing 1,000 rand and you are 35, you start investing the same amount at 35, or even if you can invest that twice or 3 times, you'll never catch up with me because of the power of compounding interest. So I'm saying start early and then you'll see how successful you'll be according to your own context.
Yeah. As we sign out, I want you to double click on what you just said now, the power of compound interest when it comes to investing. How would you simplify that for a person out there watching?
Yeah, compounding interest is if I've invested 10,000 and then my interest is 500 rands, the money is now 10,500. I reinvest the 10,500. At the end of the term, they give me interest of 600. The money is now 11,000, whatever, and I keep on reinvesting. So it's really about not spending the interest, but reinvesting it. The more you reinvest it, your money is doubling. Your money is growing. Yes, that's what we call by compounding interest. So we need to be very intentional about.
So that's interest upon
interest. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Wendy, thank you so much for joining us. I think those who follow the podcast will learn a lot. I mean, I think everything, it's power-packed.
Yeah.
And I think this, for many of us who are not yet there, but some of us can see the finishing line. Others, they don't even imagine a finishing line. They think it's too far.
Yeah.
I think people would have learned a lot from that. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Today we learned so much about money, especially having to think long-term, thinking about retirement and all sorts of things, and especially the power of compound interest. Some of us went to school and they taught us about locust. And as they were talking about locust, they were talking about the body parts of a locust. They say, name the body parts of a locust, 10 marks. One of the body parts was compound eyes of a locust, not compound interest. Today, go and learn about compound interest. Ciao.